The Commanders smashed us. The Eagles smashed us.
Yes, they did.
I mean, everyone else that was good smashed us. Made us like it. Who's your daddy? Kind of smash.
I promise we have gotten some sleep over the last 24 hours, or at least some of us have. It's Super Bowl week. You got to do what you got to do. It's Bourbon Street. We are still on location right here in the middle of it all. Welcome to the NFL on Fox podcast, presented by Verizon, the NFL powered by Verizon 5G. I'm your host, Dave Helman, and we have got another wonderful show for you, another day stationed up here at the Fox. I don't know. I'm calling it a compound for lack of a better word. We got 3 buildings, something like 5 different sets right here in the heart of Bourbon Street. I can hear the music over there. There's celebrities and dignitaries walking around. We got it all covered. So as you might imagine, another full day of fantastic interviews, great guests dropping by the show. Had a chance to rap with legends of the game like Emmitt Smith, like Charles Woodson. Got to sit down with some of the big stars in today's NFL, like my guy Bryce Young. Super excited to chat with him. Another full day of content coming your way from Bourbon Street. So I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. This is all out there on the internet for you to find. If you want to go see all of these long form interviews, you can find them on our YouTube channel. They will be up, posted on the internet. But here on the podcast, we have done you the service of another best of collection. We took the best snippets from an entire day of conversations, got them ready for you to catch you up to speed on everything. I highly encourage you to go check it all out because it's all pretty good in my biased opinion. But these are the hits, and we're going to roll them right now as we get into another Bourbon Street episode. Let's go. This guy playing in the Super Bowl on Sunday, Saquon Barkley, kind of Derrick Henry too. I can't leave him out, but running back looks like it's back in a big way.
It never left. You called 2 names that's been here since they started the campaign of devaluing the running back position. And notice I said the campaign because they lay that out there. They show that through some of the statistical data because these guys are not getting the carries that they used to. They're sharing positions because that's what the league wants. They talk about protecting players, but yet they don't protect all players. They really protect the one player that you want to talk about. That's the quarterback position. All the wars are geared towards.
You're spitting so many truths in this interview.
If I'm spitting truth, why would I lie? It is what it is. And all I'm saying is the injustice that they have placed out there into the marketplace that people gather through other pundits, if you will, and regurgitate it to the next person, which also spread more and more lies. Now, when shit hit the ceiling and it's time to bring or stabilize the offense or bring things back to a level of normalcy, you turn back there and you hand it to one of the best players on the football field.
I wanted to talk to you about mental health, though, specifically. I'm guessing that was a cause that was close to you regardless, right? But how much more perspective do you have on that, or how much perspective did you gain during the course of this year? Because I talk about the NFL every day. You know, that's my job. And when you got benched, the narrative was, oh my, this is crushing for him. How's he ever going to come back? And not only did you, but the quickness with which you did it, to go through that down and then back up, it had to be a roller coaster, man. Like, and you talk about mental health for young people. Like, how important was that during that time?
Yeah, it was super important. I'm grateful. I have a family that comes from a background of mental health. Grandfather, aunt, father, all have that background. And during that time, I was grateful to have people that have a great support system, people to lean on, people that I was able to talk to about not just football, but about life as well. And then for me, I'm really big on compartmentalizing things in my life. And, I love football. It's a big part of who I am, but it's not it's not all of me. I'm a believer first and foremost, and a lot of other things after that. So just being able to compartmentalize while I'm at work, the gravity of the situation, and making sure that I address it, and I be the best version I can, and then the times that that's over, making sure that I can be a human being. But yeah, mental health for sure during that time, and also I think that's another thing. It's not just during the downs of life,
Sure, yeah.
During ups, there's still so much importance of, how you deal with mental health. And from the outside looking in, people can have a lot of opinions about how you're probably feeling, and it doesn't always align with what people assume. So that was definitely one of the times, and there's been times when things have been going great, and still, mental health is an important thing.
Psychologically, how do you think that affects an organization to know, like, I mean, hey, we got high hopes for the Broncos, but it's got to go through Kansas City?
Man, I don't think that has no effect on the Broncos organization because we've been beating up on the Chiefs for years. No, they just got good. So, I mean, it's not mentally for us. You're going to have a batch of young guys coming in, and that's not going to mean nothing to them. It's all about what the coaches present to the players, how they get their message across, and what the guys they bring into that locker room are built of. So I don't see no fear in no Chiefs and going forward now and going forward. So
until then, I mean, they're playing in this game. I mean,
and they're getting old.
Well, depend. I mean,
They're getting old.
Some of them are. Which I was going to ask you about Travis Kelce. I mean, I think that qualifies as a guy that's getting old.
I mean, if you play with me, you're getting old. If you play with me and you're still playing, you might be beyond getting old. You just might be old.
So is that the Chiefs being on notice? I mean, the Broncos gave them hell this year.
Broncos should have won in Kansas. What was that game? Was it in Kansas City or in Denver? I can't remember.
The field goal game was at Arrowhead.
At Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Divisional games are always different than the rest of the league or conference because it's that familiarity. So, being that we should have beat them in Arrowhead, I think next year it's gonna be back to those golden days of that rivalry.
I thought Josh should win it. Period. Obviously, I'm a little biased, but Lamar had a great season and Saquon had a great season. Saquon's here where Josh wants to be, and that's really the only thing that it's good icing, but we want the whole cake. That's
obviously where you go with it. It's exciting. Surely you'd rather be playing in this game.
If you'd ask Josh, he'd be like, "Yeah, the MVP is a nice thing, but a Super Bowl champion is what we play for."
Understanding that, and we can have so much conversation about what the Bills need to do to get there. But they didn't get any first team All Pros this year. That's why I was a little bit surprised to see Josh win, because Lamar was the first team All Pro. Typically, that's how this goes. People thought the Bills were slighted a little bit considering what they accomplished. So understanding that they want to be here, is it at least, I don't know, maybe a little bit validating to see Josh win this
I think it's just a little bit of a win for the franchise, a little bit of a win for Bills fans all across the country. Bills Mafia. Shout out to Bills Mafia. Again, we got a little bit of taste of the food, but we want the whole plate now. We want everything. Not only did he have a phenomenal year, but nobody picked the Bills. And even in the beginning, when I was on media doing media stuff, talking about the Bills and their season this year, nobody picked them to even be close to. They had Miami and the Jets.
Exactly.
And how many wins did they have between them? 8?
Not enough.
Not enough. So that, I think if you take positives from their season, that's a positive. And Josh winning the MVP is a positive. But obviously being here in this game and having a chance to be a Super Bowl champ is what it's all about.
The Bills just had so many weapons this year, but maybe not that.
They didn't have that guy.
Alpha weapon.
They didn't have that guy. And in this game, you need a game changer that changes the dynamic of a game right away. And Josh is that guy, but you don't want him doing all that stuff all the time. But that's just him. That's when you say Josh Allen, he could do everything. I mean, you look some of the games, that game against San Francisco where he improvised,
everything.
You know what I'm talking about? Improvised everything. He's just like playing Sandlot. So that's why he's the MVP.
NFL fans are about to get real familiar with Travis Hunter if they're not already.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
How exciting was it to see another DB finally win the Heisman Trophy? And on top of that, what do you expect from Travis Hunter in the NFL. What do you think his best position fit is? How do you think the team that drafts him will use him? Trying to get our audience up to speed on the great Travis Hunter.
Yeah, first of all, man, just phenomenal human being. I got a chance to interview Deion and Travis when they came down to Orlando to play UCF, and my son had a high school football game Friday night, and Travis was like, "Hey, man, your son's playing tonight?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, I would like to come to the game." I was like, "Hey, really?" It's like, okay, well, they're playing at Lake Nona High School, man. We're playing this time. He shows up to the game, to come watch football. He just loves football. If you hear people around that team and those facilities, they talk about how much he just loves and he's dialed into the game and making sure that he's at his tip top all the time. And so this season, watching him play almost every snap, over 120 plus plays a game, is a testament, of course, to his work ethic and the way that he takes care of himself, takes care of his body. The team had to be involved with that too, and making sure that he's ready to play. But the most impressive thing is, to me, is not the amount of plays that he played. It's the impact that he made while he was in the game. Like, he made plays. He wasn't just a guy out there racking up a whole bunch of reps.
Right.
He was causing, game-changing fumbles
every
at the goal
week.
line.
At the goal, I was going to bring up the goal line play.
Yeah, interceptions, always in the right position, and then turn right around and go do it on offense. So, for me, I feel like at the next level, when you got a guy with that amount of talent, you can't just have him sitting on the sideline. And so, what I believe they should do is play. He's a defensive player. He's a defensive back. He start there. He played the whole defense all the time. That's what he is. He's a defensive player. But you're going to have packages on offense for him. You're going to put him on that field in certain situations, and you're going to scare the daylights out of the defense because you got an ultimate athlete out there on the other side. So definitely play him on defense, but he's got to be on the field some on offense. And I'm not talking about playing him every play. I don't believe that, because I just feel like the NFL is just a different game. It's now you're playing against every guy's a pro that you're playing against right now, and guys they dedicate their lives to playing this game, and so it's a little bit it's just a different level. So playing some on offense, but he's a defensive player, but you got to have him on the field.
I covered the Cowboys for 10 years. I'm well aware, so many legendary figures, and it's normal to hear y'all's opinions about the team, whether it's you, whether it's Darren, whether it's Troy. I cannot remember a time when all of y'all seemed as pissed off as you are right now about the state of the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh my!
You think I'm on the right track with that? Like, y'all seem mad about where things are with the Cowboys.
I haven't seen Darren Woodson's statements or Troy Aikman's or Daryl Johnston's statement.
I could go. I mean, I know he wasn't on y'all's teams. Des Bryant's mad too.
Yeah, I'm sure. A lot of guys are upset because that organization means just that much to us, and we're just as patient as any other fan. And we have fallen hook, line, and sinker to the message. And every time there's disappointment to the fans, there's disappointment to us as well. And so I think a year and a half ago, after we got bounced out of the playoff by the Packers, I had had enough of what I was already seeing. And so, disregarding what I said, not that it really mattered, the decision wasn't mine to make anyway, they moved on to retain Mike McCarthy for another year.
Right.
Hence, now he's gone. We just waited a year too long to do exactly what could have been done a year and a half ago. So, and now we're still trying to figure out, well, I don't think we're trying to figure out, I think things are, my phone is blowing up. Things are what they are right now. And people are just unsure of what's the direction. What is the clear direction? What is the call? What is the command? What is the vision? What has been set? Where's the line stop? Mm-hmm. And then where does the line begin? Even if you bring in a new coach, what is his game plan for the football team as well as the organization? And do these two things align together?
And obviously you never know how a coaching hire is going to go. I'm going to give Brian Schottenheimer the benefit of the doubt that he could be a good coach.
Give it to him.
But at the same time, like, and I think like I've said this, I think a lot of people around the Cowboys have said, it's not so much Brian Schottenheimer, but the process behind what the Cowboys do and how they arrived here, that you go from the disappointing end of the Mike McCarthy era to hiring a guy that works down the hallway from Mike McCarthy. It doesn't inspire a ton of confidence that this was like the most thorough and inventive search that you could have come up with.
On the surface, you're absolutely correct. Internally, I understand promoting from within if the quality of the individual within is just as good, if not better, than what just left. Well, guys.
Championship is the ultimate goal, but I get where Cam Newton is coming from. When you are recognized as the best player in your league, I'm sure he would love to have that game back, but I get that you might be reluctant to let an award like that go, a recognition like that go.
You know what? It's amazing, right? To win league MVP, showing that, you are the best player in the league. But this is the ultimate trophy.
Oh, he just flexed on me so hard. Jesus. Yeah.
You
Show him the ring.
I mean,
Show him
it sounds good when you don't have one.
You, CJ Stroud, Jaden Daniels. You're all from like the same 20-mile radius. My hot take is that that's going to be remembered as like one of the most incredible things in the league when all three of y'all are Pro Bowl, All-Pro caliber players. Like, wow, how did all three of y'all get to this stage where you're all this good, growing up so close to each other?
Well, I'm super, super grateful for those guys. Obviously, everyone sees, them on the field and how good of players they are, but amazing people. Like, we've all known each other for a really, really long time now, and everyone's like they're super humble, super down to earth, just great human beings, great families, great leaders in their community. So for me, I'm super grateful to have them around, people I talk to all the time, someone that people that kind of throughout this journey we've all had similar, just being able to grow in this way in this life with someone that you've known for so long. Yeah, it's surreal for sure, and I'm super grateful for them. There are people who push me, inspire me. I'm always rooting for them, so it's special for sure.
All right, so that does it for the best of from Friday. Let's keep things pushing by revisiting the conversation from Thursday. If you missed it, go get yourself caught up. You're not too late. There's still time before the game starts. Plenty of content on Thursday's episode as well, in addition to the second half of our conversation with Cynthia Frelund and Keegan Abdoo of AWS Next Gen Stats, a deep dive into the nerdy side of the game. First half of the conversation was great. We're posting the other half of it right here. Go catch yourself up if you're not, and then hit the second half of this one. Really great conversation. Here's the rest of it. The Kansas City Chiefs tackle really, really well. And
the best. They have the lowest missed tackle rate. So 11%, that's their missed tackle rate. They're missing almost no missed tackles, right? Like more than 9, something like that. So that's a factor when it comes to both Saquon, Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, like all of these things
all
are
of
really
their playmakers.
Yeah.
Making plays with the ball in their hands is what all of them do. And you've seen it in the playoffs. Saquon Barkley has had how many runs of 60-plus yards in the playoffs alone? I think it's
at least 4 that I can remember.
4 in the postseason and like 7 this year.
I think it would be worse off though for the Chiefs defense if Saquon's averaging, not his average with like one explosive run and then like a whole bunch of runs that are stuffed, meaning added behind the line of scrimmage. If he's like knocking off 5 to 7 yards a clip, that's gonna be that's the death by 1,000 paper cuts, and that would be the easiest path to the Eagles winning. I think would be just Saquon 5, Saquon 6, Saquon 7, Saquon 5.
If they don't have to get where Jalen Hurts is in a 3rd and 7 against
Third and
Spags,
7 against Spags, where they can go man.
You're trying to avoid it all costs.
And you don't want to man up everyone on that.
Even if they pick up 3 at a time, they have the tush push.
Jalen Hurts under real pressure. They have such a good O-line that when he's actually under pressure, it's a really bad pressure. It's not just a regular old pressure. It's like a very disruptive pressure, and he has not performed.
And most
well
of the pressures that they do allow are because he's holding onto the ball. Because these guys aren't losing in the first 3.5 seconds.
Nope.
All right, I don't see anything. I'm going to bail to my right, and then the end is going to peel off, and that's technically a pressure because it is pressuring the quarterback. But it's not a quick pressure. You know?
It's not an O. Like some of the pressures are on the O line, some of the pressures are on the quarterback. Exactly. So we call them so there's like extended dropbacks. That's a nice way of saying this is the quarterback's fault. 4 seconds or more.
Yeah, because
you have to.
Plays shouldn't be.
It's diplomatic,
to last
right?
More than 4 seconds.
4 seconds is eternity.
In the NFL, absolutely it is. I mean, what's the explosive play threshold?
2.5 seconds.
2.5 seconds. Yeah, not even 3. 2.5 seconds. Okay, that raises a question, and it's just the thing that I keep going back to because I think it's so interesting. You just laid out the easiest path to victory for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's not that hard to get to it. I mean, Saquon Barkley has been that incredible. What is the easiest, most straightforward path to victory for the Chiefs in this game?
You want to start?
Mine is disguising the different pre-snap coverages so that you're getting that advantage from. We saw going from regular to postseason that Xavier Worthy has now been the pre-snap motion guy, and that has made a big difference. Him getting a full head of steam, even though he's got a slighter build than like Saquon, if you're letting him get a full head of steam, it's harder to bring him down because he's so thick, right? Xavier Worthy is not as thick of a human being, but if you get him going, that man is so speedy, it's bananas, right? Incredible. So, but what they've done is it used to be Travis that was that guy, and now it's been Xavier Worthy. So disguising the pre-snap coverages to make the defense be like, what? And getting that extra second, that, oh my goodness, that to me would be, because Patrick can beat you a lot of different ways. So if you're giving him an extra beat and not forcing him into quick passes, because the Eagles are very good at defending quick passes, if you're forced, and they're very good at limiting yak yards after the catch, but if you're getting him into a position where they're like, what, just for half a second, see you later. Good luck.
Spoken like somebody who had this matchup nailed so well that you picked it at the start of the season. No, I mean, I gotta give you a chance to brag on that.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
Well, what went into that though? Like to pick Chiefs are the Chiefs, but there were a lot of questions. And again, like going back to how much they struggled in the first 5 weeks of the season, I don't think most people saw the Eagles as a slam dunk to be back here. What gave you so much confidence?
Well, I'm from Michigan, so that's interesting. But but ultimately, when I looked at their schedules, and once the schedule, who everyone's playing already. And then you'll know the order of things. The Eagles had the Chiefs had basically the easiest schedule they've had since I've worked at the NFL Network, 10 years. I think this was it matched up that they had like the NFC South and like no shade to them.
No shade to the NFC South.
That we're in New Orleans. I will be getting home now. But the way that it worked out was one of their easier schedules. And then when it came to the Eagles side, I was a little down on the Cowboys. And
hey, you know what? For the record, me too.
I know. I just feel bad because I never want to and then I thought that the NFC North, my model said that the NFC North would be hard. So I didn't actually think that the Lions I thought the Eagles would have would finish first place in the whole NFC and have the bye. And typically whichever team finishes first, more likely to. Yeah.
So your pick before the season was Eagles over Chiefs. Are you standing?
I am. Firm? My model now, does my gut say that? No, I think if you're asking my gut what I think, it's the Chiefs win. If you're asking my model what it says the Eagles by 1 in a game with a lot of points.
What do you think, Keegan?
I think that the Chiefs pull it off. Low scoring, low possession game, maybe like 24-21 or something along those lines. I think that really it comes down to like.
So that is low because 47.5 is the bar for a high scoring and a low scoring game.
Got it.
We're league employees.
Yeah. I think that both teams try to play ball control. Chiefs are able to get a stop or two with the help of a well-timed blitz by Spags, and Patrick Mahomes doesn't make any mistakes.
It just encapsulates what I love about this matchup, which I'm with you. Which I'm on the Chiefs for pure gut reasons, basically, and I love having y'all on because I've been looking for statistical reasons to back me up all week.
Great. And well, you have a whole. Look at this.
Look, I'm going to be.
Keegan even put this on like $3 paper stock, card stock for you. Like this is not cheap paper. This will
survive me spilling a beer on it later at the bar.
A beer, like 3 beers before this thing even sees anything. You're totally fine. You can pull it out in the bar. Like people see you out in the bar in New Orleans, you gotta be like, let me reverse.
Or you could use it for all the heat.
I'm gonna be ordering my drinks like Andy Reid, like with
perfect.
With my
perfect.
Oh, that's great.
That's perfect. Love that. Before I get y'all out of here, you touched on it at the beginning, but it's so cool to see this stuff used live in the moment. Like if you watch the next gen broadcast on the Amazon game on Thursday night is incredible, and like they're identifying blitzers and
Coverage.
coverages, disguises, all that stuff. And it's like y'all said, it's happening in the moment, which is definitely not something that we're used to. If this is what we've got right now, like where do you see it going from here? What are you most excited about, next year, next 3 years, whatever?
Yeah, so a lot of our stats end up being sourced from this competition called the Big Data Bowl, where we release a portion of our data. Cynthia is usually a judge.
I've always been the MC. I'm
the
the permanent
sorry,
MC
the
of it.
MC,
This
the
is
permanent MC.
permanent MC until they fire me. Whatever, that could happen.
So AWS, we usually work with AWS, Amazon Web Services, after to productionize one of those stats that we almost crowdsourced from a bunch of really smart people all across the globe. There's been finalists from Japan. There's been the people who created expected rushing yards are from Austria. We let give the data to the people and see what they can come up with. This year's theme is pre-snap predictions. So based on pre-snap movement, what happens after the snap? And I think that in terms of what you're talking about on Prime Vision, defensive alert, coverage ID, defensive vulnerability, that's the kind of stuff where I think broadcasts are going in the future. What can we do to draw the viewer's eyes to where they're supposed to look and teach people more about football? Like defensive alerts teach you about setting protections and, where do I need to worry about a blitzer coming from? Coverage ID teaches you how to generally identify coverage before the snap. So that's the kind of stuff that I think is really exciting to see coming forward.
In addition to that, Greg Olson actually said something super, super smart that I think everyone should hear. And
That sounds like Greg.
I mean, love Tom, but I love Greg too. And when you're listening to these guys talk, he says the reason that this is so useful, the reason that the next gen stats are so useful is because the teams are actually using them. And the coaches, they're using these same stats, these same databases. The ones we get as broadcasters are all of them, but the teams get ones that are specific to their team. There's rules with the competition committee about what the teams can see. Well, that's helping them make better decisions. And the teams that are very good at putting together how to use these data points, they're actually a lot of playoff teams, like all of the playoff teams.
Yeah.
So if you're
It's an
looking at
arms
who's really good and who's making good decisions, and you're looking at the ones who maybe need a little bit of help, these are the reasons why that they're able to, because it's not necessarily, you got to get quarterback right, of course, and who's not really suited for your team. It's the average player in the middle, and how can you give them just a little bit of an edge? The next gen stats, what AWS does in terms of providing all of that for every team, that allows you to take your player who might be average and give them a leg up by a little bit better quality control report, a little bit better scouting report, a little bit better even on their own stuff. Like they can tell you now, like your load management, what's going on, the practice facilities. Like they can be like, all right, well, you took 7 hits straight on today, so we're going to have you go to the weight room early, stuff like that, right? Like they can create paradigms to optimize for success on the field. And because scarcity is the name of the game in football, and you only get 17 rolls of the dice in the regular season, that just makes such a huge difference. Even getting, like, if you're 10% better in every game, think about how many more games you win in a season, like 2.
And I mean, the star power
Right?
in this,
Yeah, there you go.
which that's everything.
Yeah.
The star power in this game is incredible, but like it's beyond obvious too that these two teams excel on the margins in this way, and so it's just another fascinating wrinkle. It's an exciting time to be a nerd who likes football, guys.
Yes.
I think
It's
that's
always an exciting time to be a nerd. It's just an exciting time to be a nerd who understands how to get the AWS materials.
and
Just saying.
with an assist from Keegan and Cynthia, I hope y'all listening
And whoever's
have a better
listening,
understanding.
when he becomes your team's GM, just remember this cute little face. That's gonna come up and haunt you later. He's gonna be a great
We're gonna
GM.
clip this
He's
out
gonna be a
for
great
posterity.
GM. He
I
is.
cannot wait. Keegan,
Woo!
Cynthia,
Can't wait.
Thanks so much for stopping by, guys.
Thanks.
All right, that does it for the Friday episode, but don't you worry, we are not even close to done. We've actually got a Saturday episode coming your way, so peep the schedule, peep the feed. If you're not subscribed, go find us on Spotify, go find us on Apple Podcasts. Like I said, it's on YouTube as well. We've got weekend content coming your way because it's Super Bowl 59. My buddy Henry McKenna is going to join me for one last look at Eagles Chiefs before we finally kick this thing off. That'll be ready for you on Saturday morning. So check the feed, keep an eye out for that. It'll be coming to you soon. Until then, I appreciate it as always. I will talk to y'all real soon.